Well, this is an incredibly exciting and special pro bike for you today, because this is Sebastian Kienle's custom pro bike for the Norseman Triathlon, and quite possibly the lightest triathlon bike I have ever come across at 7.2 kilograms. Wow. Well, firstly, I apologise for the weather. Typical Norwegian weather and Norseman weather for that. Although nothing compared to what the athletes had to face yesterday, so I can't really complain. Sebastian obviously placed second in the Norseman Triathlon, and he did so on this insane bike. Now, this has actually been custom made by Dangerholm, who is a custom bike specialist. He has made particularly many mountain bike frames where he'll strip them down and make them super lightweight, add incredibly lovely parts to it, and his bikes always just look absolutely superb. So he's done this one for Sebastian. We featured many of Dangerholm's bikes at Eurobike and various things like that before. This is the first TT bike I've seen from him. Now, the interesting thing here is the actual frame itself to get this bike super light isn't actually the classic Scott Plasma TT frame. It's actually the Scott Foil road frame and forks, but then obviously it added some TT parts to it. So let's take a closer look at all of that now. So Dangerholm has meticulously sanded this frame down to save every ounce, every gram possible. So we've got this bare exposed carbon on the frame here. On the top tube though, just to add a bit of excitement and colour to this, we have got this metallic red on the top tube and then matching that on the forks. So then finally, obviously adding the branding on. So we've got the Scott decals added on here, which do match with that colour red and with the decals also on the wheels. But now let's take a look at actually some of the TT and tri aspects that have been added to this road frame, starting with the front end. So they very neatly and very cleanly managed to integrate this triathlon base bar onto this road frame, onto the foil road frame. I can't say for sure whether it's actually from a Plasma TT bike or not, but either way, they've managed to do it. And from that, they've then managed to add on Sebi's custom aero bars. So these are from Radsport Ibert. They've been custom made for Sebi's arms, the shape of his arms and how he likes to hold them when he's racing. So this bit here, all the way up to here, is one piece. So underneath it's completely covered, there's no gaps in there, and then it splits off into two grips at the end, and we've got the SRAM blips on the end. He's then actually also got the kind of the blip junction box built in very neatly into these aero bars. There's a little access port for them here, but there's nothing sticking out. There's no cables exposed. So very, very nice. Coming down again back onto this base bar, also what's interesting, and I've seen this before on Sebi's bikes, is he's actually using the sprinter shifts from SRAM down here, and that allows him to sort of just neatly place them underneath the base bar, and obviously that just suits how he rides and how he'd like to place his hand when he's on the base bar. And that is all sort of neatly tucked in around this grip. Again, it's not a bulky grip. He hasn't chosen sandpaper either. He obviously has decided to have a grip for comfort, but it's very tightly woven and it's not bulky. And then on to wheels and group set, which I'm actually going to scoot over a little bit because they're pretty standard, really, and I want to get onto some more exciting stuff. So, wheels-wise, he's using the Zip 858 NSW wheels, which are actually relatively deep wheels, considering the elevation on this course, but they're also incredibly light. So, there are actually still on the Norseman course many sections that are quite fast, so definitely the 858s will come into their own there, but as I say, they're still very light wheels too. In terms of the group set, he's using SRAM Red E-Tap axis, so he's got 170mm crank lengths here. He's using a 5643 chain rings on the front and a 1033 to match on the back, and then of course he's got the Speedplay Aero pedals on there. But what I am excited to do is talk about this area here. So this isn't Sebi's normal setup. He's got a dash saddle on which sort of directly mounts to the seat post, and as I say, this isn't the saddle that Sebi would normally use on his triathlon bikes, but this is all in pursuit of shaving and saving weight. And what's interesting is that doesn't allow for really any storage space for spares and whatnot. So on that saddle, there's actually space sort of cut into the back here where he's got his canister. He's actually got a tubeless plugs and everything. That's shoved in there. He's got tape over the top of that and then some Velcro. And I saw him on the morning actually attaching this, and I couldn't quite see it at the time and figure out what it was, but what he had is actually his chip all in there, tracking device that he then had put in another bag, Velcroed onto the top there, and it fit just neatly behind his backside there. So very smart. Attached very neatly also to that saddle, and this is all part of the saddle, just to be clear, coming off, is bolted on, is the Toe Peak secure entry tri-cage, just so you can have one spare there, and then he's also got the Elite Chrono bottle down here on the down tube. Oh, and sorry, one last thing. In my excitement to get to all the saddle and everything, I forgot to talk about the tyres. So he's actually running the Schwalbe Pro 1 TT tyres. They're a prototype tyre though, so obviously slightly different. And what's interesting is he's actually running 28 both front and rear. And as I said, these are tubeless. All in all, an absolutely incredible bike. I'm sorry, it's a very quick pro bike, and I'm sorry about the weather, but we had a very small opportunity to film this bike, and I'd have been absolutely daft to have passed that one up. 7.2 kilograms though. If you've seen a lighter TT bike, let me know, but I think that trumps them at the moment anyway. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think to this bike, but if you've enjoyed it, you like this bike, please do give it a thumbs up. See you next time.